Thank you. Celia.
Yeah, I'd like to swing you from this coming year to the considerable future, as well as being the anniversary of the EU referendum. Today is also International Women into Engineering Day, for which we do appear still to have a need, because I understand that 9% of the engineers in Britain are female, and one of the adverts that's being proposed and sent out says the biggest problem in engineering is 100 minus 91 equals 9, right? And then percent on the end. So I believe you both have daughters, and I'm just wondering whether when Isabella and...
Well, pick any one of the three, but I think my youngest is most likely to be an engineer. She shows good stuff.
So what's her name?
Louisa.
Right, so when Isabella and Louisa are thinking about what they want to do at university and how they want to run their lives, what do you think we can do now to make it possible, or more likely, that they won't have to face that 9%?
Hard, isn't it? I mean, I think that it starts. I think that some of it is self-selection through the sort of gender stereotyping that goes on from birth, and there are efforts afoot to deal with that. But it's so the school where my children go, and actually they did it last week. They did Dare to Be Different last week, where they get the Formula One racing team in with the girls, specifically the girls, to do engineering. But that's a one-off intervention, and it may be that those particular, it may be that facet of engineering doesn't grasp those particular children on that day. It has to be, I think, it has to be much longer term. I don't see how, when we are continually interfering in the delivery of tests and things at school, the focus in school is not on individual teachers are fantastic and are doing a fantastic job, and they're doing it within the constraints of over-assessment and underfunding. And I think that they need to be given a chance to sort of get on with their job, a bit of freedom of thought and space outside of assessment to nurture those skills and to give everybody a chance, and do it from primary age. I mean, secondary is very important. I don't know that I can speak with any authority at secondary age, other than that we specialise too young. Yeah. I think if we did a baccalaureate as per the French, I used to teach in French school when I did my degree, and their approach to have sort of everybody has to do maths and the core subjects, maths and science, but you do a slightly more literary based or a science based or engineering based baccalaureate. I think that would serve us a lot better. I know the government's talking about rehauling technical education. I don't know what that means, because it was only half a sentence in the Queen's speech. But I'll be interested to hear what that means. And if it means doing things like just chucking down unfunded UTCs, which have potential as a concept, but what we don't have is follow through on it as an idea. And what I've sort of banged on about quite a lot in Swindon was the fact that we have technical industry, and we have a failure to connect secondary education through FE and HE to that industry. And I mean, that's just letting everybody down in terms of all children in Swindon, basically, who could all be engineers, quite frankly. So I think it has to be about a coherent approach, and I agree we should rehaul technical education, but I'm interested to see what that actually means in practice. And with a focus, I mean, it has to be with a focus on engaging girls and not having this. I don't know where it comes in, this idea of boy subjects and girl subjects, because teachers don't engender it. I think parents need to be educated. And, in the same way that they involve parents in other things at school, internet safety, they get parents in. We need to get parents in to talk about not gendering jobs. Maybe that's just an idea.
I'll just say something. I think that there should be concerted effort to stop the cuts in education, where you've got teaching assistant and teachers being reduced, so that there is the space for development, for trying out, to assess, to see whether, yes, because you're a boy and it's engineering, it doesn't mean to say that's the career for you. Yeah. Because you're a girl in engineering, that doesn't mean to say it's a career for you. But I think that while we've got cuts going on, and I appreciate what Sarah said, because she's far more involved in education than I used to be at one time. When I hear that teacher assistants are going and schools are cutting back, then that space is gone, because you're back to the core. And I can understand why schools who are struggling keep to the core, keep going on that core, and unfortunately not allowing that space for that development. It's not so much education, it's getting on to training.
sparking the
We want
imagination and
education.
things that happens
Yes.
often between classes or just because a particular teacher's inspirational. But it is about space and time, and actually careers advice was something that was in our manifesto, and I think that that's something that's sort of as yet not properly explored and certainly not adequately resourced.
Yeah, absolutely.